fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The data crystal throbbed in my palm, a pulsating beacon of cerulean light that painted the cavern walls in ethereal shades of blue. It felt alive, humming with an energy that resonated deep within my bones, a stark contrast to the biting chill of the cavern air clinging to my exposed skin. My breath hitched, a fragile cloud momentarily obscuring my vision as Eris moved closer, his shadow stretching long and predatory in the dancing light. His eyes, usually pools of warm honey, now burned with a raw, untamed hunger that mirrored the crystal's intensity. It was a look I both craved and feared, a glimpse into the primal desires that simmered beneath his carefully cultivated composure. "Kiko," he murmured, his voice a low, gravelly rasp that sent shivers dancing down my spine. Each syllable felt like a caress, a promise of pleasures both exquisite and dangerous. Before I could fully process the impact of his words, Peter's hand snaked around my waist, possessive and grounding. His grip was firm, reassuring, a familiar anchor in the swirling vortex of emotions threatening to consume me. The heat of his palm radiated through the thin fabric of my tunic, a silent declaration of ownership. His breath, warm and minty, ghosted against my ear, sending a thrill that chased away the lingering chill. "You found it," he breathed, his voice a low rumble that vibrated against my skin. There was an undercurrent of awe in his tone, a mixture of disbelief and triumph that mirrored my own. The crystal pulsed harder, its light intensifying, as if responding to the charged atmosphere. I could feel its energy sinking with the burgeoning heat between us, a palpable force that crackled in the air. It was more than just a rare artifact, it was a key, a catalyst, a conduit to something ancient and powerful. A word long dormant in the deepest recesses of my mind surfaced unbidden, trembling on my lips. "Syg-ug-hitol," I whispered, the ancient syllables rolling off my tongue with surprising ease. The name resonated with the crystal's energy, sending a jolt of pure, unadulterated power through my veins. It felt like unlocking a hidden part of myself, awakening a potential I never knew existed. Peter's grip tightened, his fingers digging into my waist, a subtle warning. "Not just a myth, then," he murmured, his gaze fixed on the crystal, a mixture of fascination and apprehension swirling within their depths. He understood the implications, the potential consequences of wielding such power. He, more than anyone, knew the dangers that lurked in the shadows, the forces that would stop at nothing to claim Syg-ug-hitol for themselves. Eris reached out, his fingers tracing a slow, deliberate path down my arm, sending a trail of electric fire in its wake. His touch was light, almost reverent, yet it held an undeniable claim. "A catalyst," he said, his voice low and husky, his gaze locked on mine. "For us." The us hung in the air, heavy with unspoken meaning. He wasn't just referring to us three, but something bigger, a destiny, a convergence, a merging of fates that had been written in the stars long before we were born. My heart pounded in my chest, a frantic drumbeat against my ribs. Air thickened, heavy with unspoken desires and simmering tensions. The crystal's power mingled with the raw, undeniable attraction between our bodies, creating a potent cocktail of energy that threatened to overwhelm my senses. I closed my eyes, taking a shaky breath, struggling to regain control. This was dangerous, reckless, a blurring of lines that could have catastrophic consequences. Yet a part of me reveled in the chaos, in the thrill of the unknown, in the intoxicating allure of forbidden desires. Then a voice, sharp and laced with amusement, sliced through the haze of anticipation. "And what do we have here?" Alara stood framed in the doorway, her silhouette a stark contrast against the flickering light of the torches lining the corridor. Her arms were crossed, her head cocked to one side, a knowing smirk playing on her lips. She had a way of appearing at the most inopportune moments, a talent for puncturing the delicate bubble of intimacy we had created. Her eyes, sharp and observant, missed nothing. Eris and Peter tensed, their bodies instinctively shifting in front of me, their protectiveness palpable. They were like two wolves guarding their territory, ready to defend me from any perceived threat. I could feel the shift in their energy, the subtle tightening of their muscles, the barely suppressed growl in their throats. Their loyalty was unwavering, their dedication absolute. I trusted them with my life, with my heart, with my very soul. I glanced between them, my pulse racing, a knot of anxiety tightening in my stomach. Alara's arrival had thrown everything into disarray, shattering the fragile peace we had managed to establish. Her presence was a reminder of the dangers that still lurked outside this cavern, the enemies who sought to destroy us, the forces that conspired against our destinies. This was more than just a mission, more than just a quest for an ancient artifact. It was fate, a tapestry woven with threads of love, loyalty, and sacrifice, and the night was far from over. I opened my eyes, meeting Alara's gaze, a silent challenge passing between us. I straightened my shoulders, drew upon my courage, and prepared for whatever came next. This was it, our time to step into our destinies. Alara, I said, my voice surprisingly steady, what brings you here? She pushed off the doorframe and walked slowly into the cavern, her eyes never leaving mine. Just checking in on my favorite trio, she said, her voice dripping with honeyed sarcasm, making sure you haven't gotten yourselves into too much trouble. Aris stepped forward, his eyes narrowed. We can handle ourselves, Alara, we don't need babysitting. Alara laughed, a light, airy sound that didn't quite reach her eyes. Oh, I know you can, Aris, she said, but sometimes even the best of us need a little help. Peter shifted beside me, his hand tightening on my waist. What do you really want, Alara? She stopped a few feet away from us, her gaze sweeping over the crystal in my hand. That's a good question, Peter, she said, her voice suddenly serious. What do any of us really want? Power, control, or just a chance to make a difference? Her words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken meaning. I looked at Aris, at Peter, at Alara, and realized that we were all fighting for something, all driven by our own desires and ambitions. But were we fighting on the same side, or were we destined to become enemies, locked in a battle for the fate of the world? The crystal pulsed again, its light bathing the cavern in an ethereal glow. It was a reminder of the power we held in our hands, the responsibility that came with it. We had a choice to make, a path to follow, and the decisions we made tonight would determine the course of our destinies. We want to protect this world, I said, my voice ringing with conviction. We want to use the power of Syg-ug-hitol for good, to heal the land and bring peace to our people. Alara smiled, a genuine smile that reached her eyes. Then we're on the same side, she said, but be warned, Kiko, the path ahead is fraught with danger. There are those who would stop at nothing to take Syg-ug-hitol for themselves. You must be prepared to fight for what you believe in, even if it means making sacrifices. I nodded, my heart filled with a mixture of hope and trepidation. We were ready. We would face whatever challenges lay ahead together. We would protect the world, even if it meant sacrificing everything, because that's what heroes do. That's what we were meant to do. Then let's get started, I said, my voice ringing with determination. The night is far from over. And with that, we stepped into the unknown, ready to face whatever fate had in store for us. The crystal pulsed in my hand, a beacon of hope in the darkness, guiding us towards our destiny. Our adventure had just begun.